Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Wow, it's nice to be able to see some green on the charts for a change, right? So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, obviously, see what's going on. Maybe take a peek at traditional markets, larger time frames, such as the monthly and the weekly, to kind of see where we're at with some resistance levels. I've kind of talked about them recently, but I want to kind of reiterate that as well. And then also kind of redraw out some Fibonacci retracement levels here and make sure we are up to par and more so current on this recent trend. So if you are new to the channel, keep in mind I love teaching people to trade. I hope you can learn something here today, and if you do, feel free to become a community member. CryptoCash.tech is a site where you can register. Link down below. It's a really awesome community where we all learn and grow together, and just phenomenal experience. A lot of my traders are doing very, very good right now too. We can peek over at our Discord here if you want to kind of see some of those results that some of my traders are having. It's phenomenal. Take a look at this here. Select Sunny123, one of our tried and true consistent members, CFX Perpetual Long for a nice 215% there. Stack, looking at Floki, 694%. This guy is addicted to Floki. It's really, really cool. And then, of course, one of my admins here as well. Of course, Stack is an admin, but we got Bitcoin at a 89% here for a nice little profit there for a long 100x. So again, as you can see, some of the results just continue to get better and better. And again, most of them are using some of my favorite exchanges, right? So a lot of them are using Bybit, which is fully automated through my Cornix. So if you kind of check out some of my signals, you'll see that that is kind of the case. We've also got BitGet, $4,000 prize pool monthly. This is still, we got about 4 days left here as well. Then if you want just a nice exchange on, in the US, essentially without a VPN, good old Mexi Global has you covered. So again, all that stuff is in the link in the description below. Very last thing too here, this is ultimately one of my favorite things as well. Look at these results here. Bitcoin, in 5 days, we took 202% in 5 days and 20 hours. So a nice little 6 days patience give us a nice 201%. We hit all 5 targets. Same thing with BNB, 157.6% in 2.5 days. No, sorry, 2 days if you round down. So again, these are just signals that I send out to my community where we can all learn and grow together. They're fully automated, and if you want to, consider becoming a member, again, CryptoCash.tech is a site. So here's the thing with Bitcoin. Let's go big picture and work our way down. So starting with the monthly, it's important to recognize a few things here, okay? So on the monthly, if I recall correctly, I was talking about the moving averages. We're kind of getting rejected at the 50-day SIP moving average. We're now above that. Okay, so that is a fantastic sign. Granted, the month is only halfway over, so don't get too ahead of ourselves, but generally speaking, we are above that level, and that's a very positive thing. We're also soon to test 50 in the RSI, so a little bit further higher in the price action, we could very well see that broken through to the upside. So that is phenomenal. Okay, so some good monthly stuff there in that sense. Same thing here as well, and it's kind of hard to see. Let me go ahead and see if I can zoom in a little bit for you, but we got the death cross here, which is basically just when the 50 intersects with a 200 in a downward fashion, telling us we are below a resistance level. What do you know? The price action came up to about 25,000, just a little bit above, and got rejected pretty hard here recently. So again, this is a first attempt, not to say it's never going to happen, but there's a lot of resistance at 25,000. So you can see this Fibonacci retracement level here at about 25,000 even. We got a strong amount of resistance. So I would respect that for the moment. Until we get a few days closure above that level, I wouldn't expect it to continue much further. Again, just stating the obvious, this is what the charts are telling us. We got a nice bounce off of 50 on the RSI recently though. So the weekly is looking fairly decent in the overall sense of staying bullish in the short term, okay? So again, you look at the big picture here for Bitcoin, when it does really cool things, it stays above 50 on the RSI on the weekly, okay? So for the most part, we can expect the price action to possibly continue sideways and up from here based on that sentiment alone. Again, you never really truly take trades based on one thing, but these are some pretty strong factors here. Regardless of the fact that we're under the 200-day SIP moving average for the moment, it does show that we have momentum. We could and likely should continue to carry that upwards. Okay, there's also a lot of new money coming into the market as well. So there's a tremendous amount of reasons why this is potentially going to stick because we have a lot of volume at the price point just below the current price action now. Okay, so on the daily, let's talk about this here. Take a quick look here. We're at 70 on the RSI, so good, strong rejection off 25,000. That makes sense. I've expected that for some time. While I didn't expect us to hit 25,000 in 24 hours, back from, we were at like basically 22,000 a couple of days ago, I expected to fit 25,000 be a resistance level. So I don't anticipate the price action giving up that level right away because that's a strong profit point. A lot of shorts are hedging their longs right above that level, so there could be a short squeeze that it could occur, but for now I think we're going to see kind of a nice calm down effect. I'll explain more about that on smaller time frames. But if we look at the MACD here, we have a nice strong convergence. So for the most part, we're pretty much bullish on the daily, and every single indicator is telling us we are on the right side of the tracks. Okay. So again, not to say you couldn't short into this. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Obviously, you could, but anyone who probably shorted yesterday, which I said was a bad idea, got wrecked. Okay. So again, there's a reason why we remain patient and wait for certain opportunities. Okay. So again, for me, waiting a full week to take 200% on a Bitcoin trade, that's fine by me. I can handle that. That is how I survive in this type of market, right? Again, there's other opportunities, of course, that come along, but generally speaking, we're looking pretty good here. So on the 4 hour, what is this telling us here? Let's go ahead and take a quick peek. So first and foremost, we are overextended, but keep in mind, I mentioned yesterday, we are in a period right now where there was a nice amount of consolidation. So in essence, we're most likely got to reset at that point. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're roughly 7 4-hour candlesticks into this push. Okay. That being said, that implies we might have about 8 hours more of continuation to the upside or sideways from here. So what that does, that puts us right at the end of today's traditional trading day close. So by 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, there's a great chance we'll see the price action either push higher or lower, but we'll essentially establish that range, okay? And what we're looking at here is pretty obvious with these new Fibonacci retracement levels. We can see the price is kind of sticking itself right in between the 24,300 mark and, of course, 25,000. You can even say 25.1, but let's just say 25,000 even. Keep it simple, okay? So 24.3 to 25 is essentially the range that we're in right now, and it would make sense for the price action to kind of stay here and kind of work itself into that range. Okay, again, the main reason why is because we don't have a tremendous amount of volume at this price point. I kind of skipped over this earlier, but if you take a quick peek at the daily here, we can go ahead and pull up our volume weighted profile here and kind of see how much volume do we have at certain price points. Well, majority of our volume is established at the 20,000 mark. Okay, so 20,000, we have a lot of volume, but if you see right here between 25 and 28,000, there's almost nothing. Like we've spent only a couple of days in this range, right? So while it would make sense for the price to jump around in that range, it wouldn't make a tremendous amount of sense for it to break through that resistance level here at about 28,500 as a rough estimate, okay? So again, there is a great chance the price could run, okay? Keep that in mind. But on the same accord, it would make more sense for the price to consolidate before it runs because we are roughly 3 trading days into this continuation, right? And if you've probably seen my channel multiple times, you're watching this now, you'll know that there's a candlestick pattern called 3 white soldiers. Well, we are effectively fulfilling that right now. And again, it doesn't have to be massive candlesticks. The point is that you have 72 hours of continuation to the upside, and the next 24-hour period is likely to retrace. Okay, so again, it just seems likely that we're going to see a pullback, possibly to the 24,300 range. So that would be roughly my anticipation, is to possibly kind of get into the market when we come down to the 24.4 range and kind of go from there. Okay, so I'm going to reevaluate if I get that alert and see if that might be a good price point to get in at. Okay, so again, I prefer to long in this market than short. I know I've missed a couple of shorting opportunities recently. We definitely missed this one here, unfortunately, but I'm glad we got in on the nice long position, bought that dip after it established itself first, right? So again, just some things to kind of think about, but generally speaking, we're mostly bullish here at this point, but we are overextended on the 4 hour, and to me that's a transitionary time frame telling us that we could see a pullback soon. In fact, let's take one last look at the RSI and the 4 hour. We can see the MACD is pushing pretty hard, but we are starting to dissipate a little bit. It does tell me we might see a pullback, and we're up over 70 on the RSI, and we have been for roughly 24 to 28 hours. Okay, so when you're up over 70 on the RSI in the 4 hour time frame, that's a recipe for a pullback. Okay, now again, it's not going to be a massive pullback. I don't expect the price to drop hard because we got a nice support level here to the 24,000 range. But if you look at its history, for the most part, when Bitcoin comes up over 70, it can usually only maintain that price point for 1 or 2 days. What do you know? We're close to that 1 to 2 day mark. So my expectation by the end of today's trading day, we're going to see some kind of pullback closer to the 24.3 range. I'm more so hoping that happens. It's not a strong likelihood, but it seems more probable at this point just based on overextension. Again, small handful of things to kind of think about. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here with the Ichimoku cloud. We can see lagging span is getting close to the price action, but it's not quite there yet. So we're good to go. Leave your longs open. We've already closed our profits. All of our profit targets hit already, so we're in good shape. But again, if you are not in that trade as a community, consider holding your position open for the moment to see what happens next, because again, lagging span being a conservative indicator, telling us we have a lot of momentum and there's no reason to close your position just yet. But as you can see here, what do you know? The upper lead on the cloud is essentially consolidating itself right at the 24,400 mark. Again, that's the most recent high prior to this increase here, okay? That's where this Fibonacci retracement level is established. So if you see here, right at this level, we submitted about 4 hours before it broke through that level, came back down to retest it. This is a tried and true standard trading practice. It happens all the time. Key level resistance broken, price comes up, comes back down to retest that previous resistance as a support, and it continues higher. Comes up to this major Fibonacci retracement level, gets rejected. Now it's consolidating because we were up overextended for the last 3 days. Okay, so again, a lot of little things are kind of adding up to tell me that we're probably going to be range bound here for a short while. If it pulls back to 24.3, I think that might be a decent consideration for entry. Again, we reevaluate before we jump in, but that is the concept here at this point. Again, it may not pull back that far. It looks very strong at this point, and it may want to continue higher. We have probably another 8 hours of continuation to the upside. There's a good potential chance of that. The reason why I believe that, because take a look at here, TD sequential. We got a nice period of consolidation here. So we hit 2 nines, TD sequential. Comes up to that key level resistance, breaks through, comes up once again to break through this secondary resistance level. And then of course it retraces to bounce off that key level support. And now we're up to a 2. So again, I would say today, for the remainder of today's trading day, traditional hours, we're looking at a likelihood of the price action going up from here, possibly to try to retest this 25.5 mark. But on the same accord, it's still overextended for the last 3 days, right? And we got to recognize that a pullback would make a lot of sense. Okay, so again, I know it's 6 to 1, half a dozen the other, depending on how you look at it, but standard indications are telling me that we should wait for a slight pullback before the next increase. But you can absolutely average your price down too. Another good strategy, I do this a lot myself. Just say, for example, you want to get at 25,000, you don't want to miss the boat. Put in 25 to 30% of your overall position size for that trade, right? And again, your overall position size should be no more than 5% of your portfolio if you're using leverage. So for example, you just say you have $1,000, you would put no more than 50 into this trade, but hypothetically at 25,000, if you want to have multiple entries, instead of doing 50 all at once, you'd put in maybe just say $10 to $15 and keep putting $10 to $15 more to total that 50 as the price comes lower to that support level. Then you average your price down, your price is averaged lower, and then when you hit your profit targets, you'll be in good shape. Keep this in mind too though. When the price action comes down and you do that, if it goes up and hits your profit target, you're still in the green, right? So again, there's some really awesome little strategies you can apply, and those are things that I like to do too. I like to do an entry zone where I have like a range of entries, and that's all fully automated through Cornix, and really awesome situation. In fact, take a quick look at this here. I can kind of show you how this trade was set up here recently for BNB. If I can go ahead and pull it up here. Here we go. So see how we have an entry zone between 288 and 275. Then all of our 5 profit targets were hit in that time frame. Okay, so again, it only took 2 days to hit all this, but once again, I had an entry zone where we got in at 288. While we didn't fill at 275, we still took some healthy profits on that percentage that we took initially on our entry. Okay, so it could have been 50%, could have been 25%. It just depends on your risk portfolio, and you can set all that up through Cornix. Again, that's all stuff that's fully automated through my signals. And we do offer a free 7-day signals for our community as well. Be sure to check that out. Really awesome stuff there in that sense. And yeah, pretty much awesome, cool stuff here, you know. So again, if you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a website link down below. You just simply click join premium, and if you want to use signals, for example, you just come here, you got the 1 week for free. And then of course it's $100 a month from there on out if you decide you want to continue. All right, so again, awesome stuff there. Be sure to check that out. If not, that's cool too. Thanks for watching and learning. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.